My parents forbade me from attending their 40th wedding anniversary. Then my brother posted a photo that made my hands go cold. Not because they looked happy. Not because the ballroom was beautiful. Not because I saw my mother smiling in the gold dress I had helped pay for, and my father standing proudly beside her in a black tuxedo, one hand raised like a king greeting his people. No. The photo hurt because of what sat behind them. On the stage, under a wall of white roses and golden lights, was a giant portrait of my late grandfather, Samuel Bennett. Grandpa Sam. The man who had raised more of my heart than my own parents ever did. And under his portrait, in shining letters, was the announcement I had not been told about. The Samuel Bennett Family Legacy Fund. My name is Naomi Bennett. I was 36 years old that night. And while my parents celebrated 40 years of marriage in front of 200 guests, they used my grandfather's name to launch a family fund with money they were never supposed to touch. Money Grandpa Sam had left under my protection. Money meant for education, housing support, and emergency shelter for women and children in our community. Money my family had mocked when I first said I wanted to use it for something bigger than our last name. But there they were, smiling, clapping, standing under my grandfather's face like thieves posing for a church bulletin. My brother Marcus posted the photo at 8:43 p.m. His caption said, "Tonight we honor love, legacy, and the future of the Bennett family. Some people were not invited because legacy requires loyalty. Some people, me, the daughter who planned most of the anniversary before being banned from attending. The daughter who booked the venue. The daughter who found the florist. The daughter who negotiated the catering. The daughter who paid the first deposits when my mother cried about cash flow. The daughter who arranged the photographer because my father said, 'Naomi, you are better with details.' Details. That was what my family called my labor when they wanted to use it. But when the invitations went out, my name was missing. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Then my mother called. Her voice was soft, rehearsed, and already guilty. 'Naomi, baby, we need you to understand something.' I was standing in my kitchen, reviewing final catering invoices on my laptop. The anniversary was 3 days away. I had just sent the updated seating chart to the event planner. 'What happened?' I asked. My mother took a breath. 'Your father, and I think it's best if you don't attend on Saturday.' For a moment, I thought I misheard. 'What?' 'It's only for peace.' Peace. That word had been used like duct tape in my family for years. Peace meant Marcus was not corrected. Peace meant my mother's tears ended the conversation. Peace meant my father's pride remained untouched. Peace meant Naomi swallowed the insult and continued paying the bill. I held the phone tighter. 'Mom, I planned the event.' 'I know, baby. I paid deposits. We appreciate that. You appreciate it, but I'm not invited.' She sighed. 'Naomi, don't make it sound ugly. Then explain it beautifully.' Silence. Then my father's voice came on the line. He had clearly been listening. 'Naomi, we cannot have tension at our anniversary.' I sat down slowly. 'What tension?' 'You know what tension.' 'No, say it.' He exhaled sharply. 'Your attitude toward Marcus.' There it was. Marcus. Always Marcus. The favorite son. The fragile heir. The grown man whose feelings needed more protection than anyone else's dignity. 'What did Marcus say?' I asked. My father's voice hardened. 'This is not about what Marcus said.' 'That means it is exactly about what Marcus said.' My mother came back on the phone. 'He feels you embarrass him.' I laughed once. 'He borrowed $30,000 from me, never paid it back, and I embarrass him.' 'Naomi.' 'He used my business account for family expenses without asking, and I embarrass him.' Please. He told Aunt Linda I was bitter because Grandpa Sam trusted me with the fund, and I embarrass him. My father snapped, enough. No, you told me not to attend the anniversary I planned. We are only getting started. My mother began crying. That used to stop me. Not anymore. My father said, this is why we made the decision. You cannot control yourself around family. I stared at the laptop screen. The seating chart had my parents' names at the center table. Marcus and his wife, Tasha, beside them. Aunties, uncles, pastors, business friends, community leaders. My name had been moved to nowhere. I see, I said quietly. My mother sniffed. You can still help with final details. I looked up. What? The planner still needs your confirmation on the flowers and the menu count. My hand went still. You want me to finish planning an event I am forbidden to attend? It's for your parents, my father said. No, I said, it is for your image. My mother whispered, don't punish us. That was always how they spoke. My boundary became punishment. Their insult became misunderstanding. I closed the laptop. I will send the vendor files to the planner. After that, handle your own anniversary. My father scoffed. You are being childish. No, Dad. A child begs to be included. I am done. Then I hung up. For 3 days, I heard nothing from them except practical messages. My mother texted, what time does the photographer arrive? I ignored it. Marcus texted, don't act hurt now, you caused this. I blocked him. My father emailed, send the final payment confirmation for the venue. I replied with one sentence, any remaining balances are your responsibility. He did not respond. On the night of the anniversary, I stayed home. I told myself I did not care. That was a lie. I cared so much I cleaned my apartment twice just to keep my hands busy. I cooked stew and did not eat it. I tried watching a movie and forgot every scene. At 8:30, I sat by the window with tea gone cold, wondering whether my mother looked for me even once. Then my phone buzzed. Brianna, my younger sister, sent a message. Naomi, did you know about this? Attached was Marcus's post. The ballroom. The portrait. The flowers. My parents. Marcus. The announcement. The Samuel Bennett Family Legacy Fund. I zoomed in. My heart began pounding. On the table near my father was a blue folder. I knew that folder. Grandpa Sam's trust documents had been kept in blue binders by his attorney, Daniel Hart. But this folder had a gold sticker with the Bennett family crest Marcus, designed for one of his failed luxury branding ideas. My breath caught. They had not only banned me, they had used my absence to claim my grandfather's legacy. Then I saw the second photo. Marcus at the podium, holding a microphone, smiling wide. Behind him, another screen showed words that made my stomach turn. Managed by Marcus Bennett, Executive Director **. Executive Director. Of what? My grandfather's fund. The fund I legally controlled. The fund Marcus had no right to touch. My hands shook as I called Mr. Hart. He answered quickly. Naomi, are you watching the Bennett anniversary posts? Silence. Then his voice became cold. Number should I be? They launched a Samuel Bennett Family Legacy Fund. Another silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Send me everything, he said. I sent the photos. The captions. The screenshots. The video Brianna forwarded next, where Marcus stood at the podium saying, our grandfather believed in family first. Tonight, under my leadership, we are bringing his legacy back where it belongs. Back where it belongs. I almost dropped the phone. Mr. Hart called again after 5 minutes. Naomi, he said, do not contact them. They used his name. I know. They put Marcus in charge. I know. They forbade me from attending so I wouldn't see it. I know. My voice broke. Can they do this? No, he said, but they have done something very useful. What? They made their intent public. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight. And if your family has ever pushed you out of the room so they could rewrite the truth in your absence, stay with me. Because sometimes the photo they post to embarrass you becomes the evidence that exposes them. Grandpa Sam was not a rich man in the loud way. He did not wear designer suits. He did not drive flashy cars. He did not speak about legacy at dinner tables while someone else washed dishes. He wore clean shirts, old leather shoes, and the same silver watch for 30 years. He owned a small chain of hardware stores, 2 rental buildings, and several pieces of land he had bought before the city grew around them. People underestimated him because he was quiet. My father made that mistake too. Grandpa Sam believed in work, but not the kind of work people brag about. He believed in showing up, fixing the door before it broke, paying workers before upgrading offices, remembering the names of people who cleaned after everyone left. He believed family mattered, but not in the way my parents used the word. My father believed family meant loyalty to hierarchy. Grandpa believed family meant responsibility to truth. Those 2 beliefs fought silently for years. I was closer to Grandpa Sam than anyone else in the family, and that alone made Marcus jealous. When I was little, Grandpa let me sit behind the counter at his main hardware store and sort receipts by date. He said I had careful hands and a patient mind. Marcus hated that because Grandpa never let him near the cash drawer after he borrowed $20 and forgot to return it. Marcus called me Grandpa's pet. Grandpa heard him once and said, "No, son, she is useful because she is trustworthy. Try it." Marcus did not speak to him for 2 weeks. My parents said Grandpa was too hard on Marcus. Grandpa said Marcus was too soft on himself. That became another family war. My father, Leonard Bennett, was Grandpa's oldest son. He inherited the idea that being first meant being chosen. My mother, Patricia, married into that idea and polished it until it shone. Their whole marriage centered around a belief they never said plainly. Sons carry legacy, daughters support it. Marcus was the son. I was support. Brianna, our younger sister, was the quiet one, the peacemaker, the child who learned to disappear before decisions became dangerous. Growing up, Marcus received investments. I received responsibilities. Marcus was given a car at 19 because a young man needs independence. I took buses because a young woman should learn patience. Marcus failed one business and got seed money for another. I built a consulting career and got asked if I could review his invoices for free. Marcus forgot Mother's Day and was called busy. I planned it and was told the flowers should have been fresher. This is how favoritism works best. Not always with one dramatic betrayal. Often with 1,000 small arrangements that teach one child the world will bend and another child that bending is love. Grandpa Sam saw it. He saw Marcus borrowing and not returning. He saw my father defending him. He saw my mother asking me to just help this once again and again. He saw me become tired. One evening, when I was 29, I sat with him on his porch after Marcus had asked me to co-sign a business loan. My parents had already pressured me for a week. Grandpa poured lemonade into 2 glasses and said, "You going to sign?" "No." "Good." I looked at him. "You don't think I'm selfish?" He snorted. "Selfish people don't ask that question first." I smiled. Then he grew serious. "Naomi, your family has mistaken your steadiness for a bridge they can drive trucks over." That sentence stayed with me. I said, "They say Marcus needs help." "Marcus needs truth." They say I don't understand family. Family without fairness becomes a small kingdom, and kingdoms always need someone carrying stones. I looked at him. Who carries stones in ours? He gave me a sad smile. You already know. When Grandpa Sam got sick 2 years later, the family changed shape. Or maybe it only revealed itself. My father visited when other people were there. My mother brought food and took photos. Marcus came twice, once to ask about some land Grandpa owned near the highway. Brianna came quietly and read to him. I came every day. Not because anyone assigned me. Because I loved him. I handled medicine schedules. Doctor calls. Legal appointments. Store transition files. Property taxes. Insurance issues. The quiet work people notice only when it is missing. One night, Grandpa said, Naomi, get Daniel Hart. Mr. Hart had been his attorney for decades. I called him the next morning. That began the process nobody in my family knew about. Grandpa changed his estate plan. Carefully. Legally. With doctors confirming his capacity and Mr. Hart documenting everything like he already knew a storm would come. He left my father certain assets. My mother some sentimental items. Brianna a protected education and housing trust. Marcus a smaller amount, paid in stages, with restrictions because Grandpa said, a bucket with holes should not be filled all at once. And me. He left oversight of the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust. Not for personal spending. Not for family luxury. For a mission. Education grants. Housing support. Emergency relief for women and children. Small business assistance for hardworking people who lacked access. A family accountability clause. A board. An attorney. A trustee. Clear rules. And one instruction that made me cry when Mr. Hart read it after Grandpa died. Naomi will protect the purpose because Naomi understands the difference between legacy and appetite. My father was furious when he learned I had oversight. He did not show it at the funeral. No. At the funeral, he stood proudly, thanked people, and said, my father believed in family. He cried on cue. Marcus looked irritated when Mr. Hart read the will privately later. What does Naomi know about managing a legacy fund? He snapped. Mr. Hart replied, apparently more than your grandfather believed you knew. Marcus hated him from that day. My mother tried to smooth things. Naomi, baby, maybe you can include Marcus in some role. I said no. You don't have to be rigid. Grandpa was specific. Your brother is hurt. Then he should sit with that. My father accused me of enjoying power. I told him, no, Dad, I enjoy instructions being followed. That made him angrier. For 2 years, I ran the trust carefully with the board and Mr. Hart. We funded school supplies for children in low-income neighborhoods, helped 3 women leave unsafe housing, gave microgrants to small repair businesses, paid emergency rent for families facing eviction, supported a trade scholarship program in Grandpa's name. I sent quarterly reports to the family, though they were not entitled to direct control. Marcus mocked them. Great, Grandpa's money buying strangers backpacks. My father said nothing, but his silence agreed. My mother said, charity should start at home. I said, it did. Grandpa gave Marcus money too. She did not like that. As my parents' 40th anniversary approached, my mother became obsessed with making it grand. She said 40 years deserved honor. She said people needed joy after the grief of losing Grandpa. She said the Bennett family needed to stand united. I understood. Partly. I loved my parents despite everything, and 40 years of marriage was not small, so I helped. I helped because I wanted peace, yes, but also because part of me still wanted my family to become better if I kept showing them what care looked like. That is a hard habit to break. I booked the Magnolia Grand Ballroom, found the florist, arranged a live band, designed the dinner menu, prepared the slideshow, collected old photos, called relatives, managed hotel rooms for out-of-town guests, paid deposits when vendors needed confirmation. My mother praised me privately. "Naomi, you always know how to make things beautiful." But when relatives asked who was planning the event, she said, "We are all working together." We, a word people use when one person does the work and everyone wants credit. Then Marcus got involved. At first, only in small ways. He asked about the program, then the guest list, then the slideshow, then whether there would be a speech about Grandpa. I asked why. He said, "It's family history." I did not trust him. But I was busy, and Marcus loved attention more than administration. I assumed he only wanted stage time. I was wrong. 3 weeks before the anniversary, he called me. "Naomi, I want to announce something at the party." "No." He laughed. "You don't even know what it is. That is how well I know you. It's about Grandpa." My body went still. "What about Grandpa?" "I want to talk about restoring his legacy." "His legacy is functioning. Your little backpack projects." I closed my eyes. "Marcus, come on, we should be thinking bigger. A family fund, real branding, scholarships with Bennett name recognition, business grants, gala dinners, donor circles, maybe even a foundation headquarters. There already is a trust. Controlled by you. Protected by Grandpa." He scoffed. "You love hiding behind that." "No, Marcus, I respect dead people's instructions." "You think Grandpa was perfect." "No, but he knew not to leave you unrestricted money." Silence. Then his voice sharpened. "You'll regret speaking to me like that. I've survived worse than your disappointment." He hung up. I should have called Mr. Hart immediately. Instead, I told myself Marcus was just angry. Another mistake. A week later, my mother asked if the anniversary program could include a short family legacy presentation. I asked Marcus's idea. She hesitated. "Your brother wants to honor Grandpa." "No." "Naomi, don't start." "Mom, if this is connected to the trust, no." She sighed. "You are too suspicious." I learned from professionals. My father called later that evening. "This anniversary is not about your control issues." I didn't make it about control. Marcus did when he started using Grandpa's name. My father's voice hardened. "Your brother wants to honor the family. Then he can start by honoring the will." That ended the call. After that, the atmosphere changed. My mother became cooler. My father stopped asking for updates. Marcus started communicating directly with the event planner, pretending he was coordinating stage flow. I warned the planner not to approve changes without me. Then, 3 days before the event, my mother called and forbade me from attending. Now I understood why. They did not want tension. They wanted no witness. They wanted to stand under Grandpa's portrait, claim a fund they did not control, and present Marcus as the family legacy leader, while the actual trustee sat at home, excluded like a problem. But they forgot one thing. Marcus loved posting too much. Vanity is evidence with lighting. By 9:15 p.m. that night, Mr. Hart had saved every post, video, caption, and comment. Brianna kept sending more. She was at the event, sitting near the back, looking sick in one video. She called me from the restroom. "Naomi," she whispered, "I didn't know." "I believe you. They're telling people Marcus is leading Grandpa's new fund." I saw. Dad said you stepped back because the board needed a stronger public face. My whole body went cold. Stronger public face. Meaning male. Meaning Marcus. meaning they had told guests I was absent by choice. Did they ask for donations? I asked. Brianna went quiet. Brianna. There are pledge cards on the tables. I closed my eyes. Send me a photo. She did. The pledge card said, Samuel Bennett Family Legacy Fund, Founding Anniversary Campaign. Donations payable to Bennett Family Legacy Group. Not the real trust. A new entity. My parents and Marcus had created a shadow fund using Grandpa's name. They were not only claiming control, they were raising money. Mr. Hart called me after I forwarded the photo. His voice was no longer cold. It was ice. Naomi, this has crossed into a serious area. What do we do? We stop it tonight. How? First, we contact the venue and event planner. Second, we issue notice to Marcus and your parents. Third, we contact the bank if donation processing has begun. Fourth, we inform the trust board. Fifth, if needed, we send someone to the venue. I stood. I'm going. No. Mr. Hart. No, Naomi, you are hurt. They want an emotional scene. We will give them a legal one. He paused, then said, Vivian is available. I almost smiled through tears. Vivian Hart was Daniel's niece and a litigation attorney with a reputation for turning family drama into carefully labeled exhibits. Send Vivian, I said. At 10:02 p.m., Vivian walked into the Magnolia Grand Ballroom. Brianna video called me from her table, phone low beside her purse. I watched. The ballroom was glowing. Gold lights, white roses, candles. My parents at the center table. Marcus near the stage, laughing with two pastors and a local business owner. A donation table stood near the entrance with pledge cards, envelopes, and a framed photo of Grandpa Sam. My grandfather's face, used like decoration for fraud. Then Vivian entered. Black suit, red lipstick, calm face. She walked to the donation table first, picked up a pledge card, read it, took a photo, then walked straight toward Marcus. Brianna whispered, "Oh Lord." Marcus saw her and frowned. Vivian smiled. That smile has ended more foolishness than shouting ever could. I could not hear everything from Brianna's phone, but I heard enough. Mr. Bennett, Vivian said, I represent Naomi Bennett and the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust. You are hereby notified that the use of Mr. Bennett's name, likeness, and trust-related language in connection with this unauthorized entity and fundraising effort must cease immediately. The people around Marcus froze. My father stood. What is this? Vivian turned slightly. Documentation, Mr. Bennett. My mother's face went pale. Marcus laughed. This is a private family event. Vivian looked around the ballroom. With pledge cards. Someone at a nearby table whispered. A pastor picked up his card and looked at it again. Vivian continued. Any donations collected tonight under the impression that they are affiliated with the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust must be preserved and returned unless properly redirected through the authorized trust. Marcus's face reddened. You can't walk in here and embarrass us. Vivian smiled. I did not set up the table. My father came closer. Where is Naomi? At home, Vivian said, where you asked her to stay so you could do this without her. The room shifted. People heard that. My mother began crying. Not quietly. She stood and said, This is our anniversary. Vivian turned to her. Then, I recommend you celebrate your marriage without misusing a deceased man's legacy. A few guests gasped. Brianna's camera shook because she was breathing hard. Marcus pointed toward the exit. Leave. Vivian handed him a document. Gladly once served. He did not take it. So she placed it on the table in front of him. Then she looked at the event planner. I need all donation materials preserved. No shredding, discarding, moving, or altering. You will receive formal instructions tonight. The planner looked terrified and nodded. My father's face collapsed into anger and humiliation. Marcus looked like he wanted to grab the papers and tear them up. He did not. Too many cameras. Too many witnesses. And this time, I was not the one being dramatic. I was the one with counsel. Vivian left after 7 minutes. 7 minutes. That was all it took to turn their celebration into a room full of questions. Brianna called me from outside. Naomi, she said, voice shaking. Everyone is whispering. Are you okay? I'm embarrassed. You should be angry. I am. Good. She started crying. I should have left when I saw the pledge cards. Yes. I'm leaving now. Good. She paused. Do you want me to come over? I looked around my quiet apartment. For once, I did not want to be alone. Yes. Brianna arrived at midnight with mascara under her eyes and her heels in her hand. She hugged me and cried into my shoulder. I'm sorry, she kept saying. For what specifically? I asked softly. For attending after they banned you, for believing Mom when she said it would just be calmer, for not asking why Marcus had a speech, for sitting there while they lied about you stepping back, for waiting until it got bad before sending everything. I held her. I hear you. That night, while my parents' anniversary ended in whispers and legal notices, Brianna and I sat on my couch eating leftover stew and watching screenshots arrive from relatives who suddenly wanted clarity. Funny. People love clarity after they realize they may have donated to the wrong table. The next morning, my father called at 6:12. I did not answer. My mother called at 6:20. I did not answer. Marcus sent a message from a new number. You ruined Mom and Dad's anniversary. Hope you're proud. I forwarded it to Vivian. She replied. He remains impressively committed to evidence. Mr. Hart convened an emergency board meeting for the trust. The facts were reviewed. Unauthorized entity. Unauthorized fundraising. Misuse of Samuel Bennett's name and portrait. Misrepresentation of Naomi's role. Public claims of leadership by Marcus. Potential donor confusion. Potential financial risk. The board authorized immediate legal action if my family did not comply fully. By noon, formal demands went out. Cease using the name. Stop fundraising. Return or redirect all donations. Provide donor lists. Provide bank records. Remove social media posts. Issue a public correction. Preserve all communications. Marcus refused. Of course. My parents panicked. Of course. The first family call came through Mr. Hart's office. My father wanted to resolve privately. Mr. Hart said private resolution required public correction. My father hated that. He said, people will think we did something wrong. Mr. Hart replied, an efficient summary. The posts came down by evening. But not the screenshots. Screenshots are the ghosts of arrogance. Donors began asking questions. One local business owner wrote to the event planner, copying Mr. Hart. I pledged $10,000 believing this was the official Samuel Bennett trust Naomi Bennett has managed. Please cancel any payment to Bennett Family Legacy Group. Another donor asked whether the fund was legitimate. A pastor who had attended called my mother, upset that his name had been used in photos near the pledge table. The ballroom photographer, worried about legal exposure, sent all raw photos to Vivian after receiving a preservation notice. Those photos were devastating. Marcus holding pledge cards. My father standing beside the unauthorized logo. My mother smiling near Grandpa's portrait. Tasha arranging donation envelopes. a printed program calling Marcus executive director, and one empty reserved seat near the front with a small card. Naomi Bennett. Turned upside down. That photo hurt most. They had made a place for me, only after making sure I could not occupy it. Maybe for appearances. Maybe to say I had refused. Maybe because cruelty loves props. Vivian enlarged that photo for her file. Symbolism with evidentiary value, she said. The family meeting happened 1 week later at Mr. Hart's office. Not my parents' house. Not a restaurant. Not the church fellowship hall where my mother could cry in front of people. A conference room with glass walls, a long table, and a recording agreement signed by everyone. Present were my parents, Marcus, Tasha, Brianna, Mr. Hart, Vivian, one board representative, and me. Marcus refused to look at me. My mother cried silently. My father looked like a man who had not slept. Tasha stared at the table. Mr. Hart began. Let us be clear. The Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust is a legally established charitable trust with defined governance. Bennett Family Legacy Group has no authority to represent itself as connected to that trust, Samuel Bennett's estate, or Naomi Bennett's role. The anniversary event created donor confusion and reputational harm. Marcus scoffed. Reputational harm. She sent a lawyer to humiliate our parents. I looked at him. No, you used Grandpa's name to raise money for a fake fund after getting me banned from the room. His eyes flashed. It was not fake. Then where is the board? We were creating one. Where are the bylaws? We were drafting. Where is the bank account? He looked away. Vivian leaned forward. We will get there. My father said, we never intended fraud. Mr. Hart replied, intent is one question, conduct is another. My mother wiped her face. We only wanted the family to have a place in Samuel's legacy. I turned to her. You had a place, you just didn't have control. She flinched. Good. Because that was the truth. My father looked at me. Naomi, you excluded us. No, Dad. Grandpa excluded control from people he did not trust with the mission. Marcus slammed his hand on the table. He was old. Mr. Hart's voice cut through the room. Careful. Marcus leaned back, breathing hard. I looked at my brother. You hated that Grandpa trusted me. Yes, Marcus snapped. I did you happy. The room went silent. Finally. A clean sentence. Marcus continued, face flushed. You walked around like you were chosen. I walked around doing the work. He should have chosen Dad. He did not. He should have chosen me. I almost laughed. For what reason? I'm his grandson. And the Bennett name is also mine. You know what I mean. Yes, I said quietly, that is the problem. Tasha touched Marcus's arm. He pulled away. My father said, Marcus, stop. Marcus turned on him. No, Dad, you said it too. You said Naomi was making the family look small. You said Grandpa's money should be handled by someone with vision. You said if she wouldn't include us, we'd build something bigger. My mother covered her mouth. My father closed his eyes. Vivian wrote something down. I looked at my father. Is that true? He did not answer. Dad. He opened his eyes. Yes. There it was. The anniversary had not been Marcus alone. My father had helped. My mother had known. Tasha had arranged donation materials. They had all participated. Brianna began crying quietly. Not from surprise. From recognition. The family mask had fallen in front of everyone. Mr. Hart slid a document across the table. These are the terms for avoiding immediate litigation. Marcus laughed bitterly. Of course. Vivian said, you should read before performing. The terms were strict. Dissolve Bennett Family Legacy Group or rename it without reference to Samuel Bennett, the trust, or any confusing language. Return all donations or redirect them to the authorized trust with donor consent. Issue a public correction acknowledging the anniversary fundraising was not connected to the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust. Remove all posts. Provide full financial records. Cease using Grandpa's image. Marcus banned from any trust-related activity. Tasha 2. My parents could attend public trust events only as guests, not representatives. Any future violation would trigger court action. My mother whispered, public correction. Yes, Mr. Hart said. People will talk. Vivian looked at her. They already are. The question is whether they will hear the truth from you or subpoenas. My father signed first. His hand shook. My mother signed after crying for 10 minutes. Tasha signed quickly. Marcus refused. For 2 days. Then his lawyer advised him to sign. So he did. The public correction went out a week later. My father posted it from his page. At our anniversary celebration, an announcement was made regarding Bennett Family Legacy Group and the Samuel Bennett name. We wish to clarify that this effort was not affiliated with the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust, which remains under its established governance and leadership. Any donations pledged have been returned or redirected with donor consent. We regret the confusion. Vivian hated the word confusion. So did I. But Mr. Hart said it was acceptable because the legal terms contained stronger admissions. Still, I posted my own statement from the trust page. The Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust remains committed to the mission Samuel Bennett established: education, housing support, emergency relief, and opportunity for people who need structure more than performance. Legacy is not a name placed on a stage. Legacy is instructions honored when the person who gave them is no longer here to defend them. That statement was shared widely. People understood. Some relatives called me cold. Some called me strong. Some called me disrespectful. Aunt Linda called and said, "Your grandfather would have enjoyed that sentence about performance." I laughed. I hope so. He would have. My relationship with my parents changed after that. Not ended. Changed. For months, I did not visit. My mother sent messages. Some apologetic. Some guilty. Some defensive. I responded rarely. My father called Mr. Hart twice, asking whether he could volunteer with the trust to make things right. Mr. Hart told him trust repair began with staying away until invited. Marcus stopped contacting me after Vivian threatened legal action for harassment. Tasha unfollowed me. That felt like a blessing. Brianna and I became closer. She struggled with guilt after the anniversary. She said, "I feel like I watched them erase you and only spoke when it became embarrassing." I said, "That is true." She cried. I did not soften it. Then I added, "But you spoke before the money moved. That mattered." She nodded. "I want to help with the real trust. Then start as a volunteer, not family, volunteer." She accepted. That mattered too. Brianna showed up on Saturdays packing school kits, sorting housing applications, and making reminder calls to grant recipients. No spotlight, no title, no announcement, just work. Grandpa would have liked that. 6 months after the anniversary, my mother asked to meet. I said yes, but at my office. She arrived with no pearls. I noticed. She sat across from me and looked at the framed photo of Grandpa Sam on my bookshelf. "I miss him," she said. "So do I. I think he would be ashamed of me." "Yes." She flinched. I did not apologize. She took a deep breath. "I am sorry." "For what specifically?" She folded her hands. "For asking you to plan the anniversary and then agreeing you should not attend. for choosing Marcus's comfort over your dignity, for standing under Samuel's photo while knowing the fund was not authorized, for letting people believe you stepped back, for caring more about how the family looked than whether we were lying. That was a real beginning. And, I asked. She cried. For using your work while denying you a seat. That one made my throat tighten. Because that was my whole childhood. My whole adulthood. My whole role. Work, then no seat. I looked down until I could breathe again. Thank you, I said. She reached for my hand, then stopped herself. May I? That question mattered. I nodded. She held my hand gently. I don't know how to be your mother without asking you to fix things, she whispered. Then learn. She nodded. I'm trying. I believed her a little. My father came next. Not with tears first. With a folder. That almost made me laugh. He sat in my office and placed it on the desk. I brought records, he said. That surprised me. Records of what? Every expense you paid toward the anniversary. Deposits, vendor fees, the floral deposit, photographer, planner consultation, hotel blocks, I want to repay them. I stared at him. For years, I had paid things my family forgot. This was the first time my father arrived with his own accounting of my labor. I opened the folder. It was incomplete. Of course, but not careless. He had tried. He said, Brianna helped. I can tell. He smiled sadly, then grew serious. I also wrote down unpaid things that cannot be reimbursed. I looked up. He had another page. Phone calls. Planning hours. Vendor management. Slideshow collection. Family coordination. Emotional labor. At the bottom, he had written, exclusion from event planned by Naomi. My throat tightened. He said, I don't know how to repay that. You can't. I know. Why did you do it? He looked at Grandpa's photo. Because Marcus told me he would not attend if you came. He said you would embarrass him. He said people would ask why he wasn't leading the legacy work. He said you had taken Grandpa from us. And you believed him. My father's eyes filled. I wanted to. Why? Because if Marcus was right, then I had not failed as a father. You were just difficult. Samuel was just unfair. The trust was just a mistake. The truth sat there. Heavy, but clean. He continued. Then Vivian walked in, and I saw the room looking at me, not as Samuel's son, as a man misusing his father's name. His voice broke. I became ashamed. Good. He nodded. Yes, good. He pushed the folder toward me. I transferred the reimbursement this morning, and I have written an apology for the trust board. I read it. It was better than the public correction. More honest. More painful. It named unauthorized conduct, exclusion, and desire for control. I said, send it. He nodded. Then whispered, can I ever attend a trust event again? As a guest one day, not soon. He accepted that. Progress. Marcus did not apologize for almost 2 years. During that time, the trust grew. Ironically, the scandal made more people aware of the real mission. Donations increased after the public correction because people saw that we took governance seriously. Volunteers came. Community partners reached out. The trade scholarship doubled. Emergency housing support expanded. We opened the Samuel Bennett Learning House, a converted building with classrooms, counseling rooms, a small computer lab, and temporary living quarters for women and children in crisis. At the opening, I gave a speech. My parents attended as guests. They sat in the 3rd row. Not on stage. Not at the front table. 3rd row. My mother cried quietly when I said, legacy is not inherited by standing closest to the microphone. It is earned by standing closest to the work. My father bowed his head. Brianna stood beside me as a volunteer coordinator by then, not because of her last name, but because she had shown up every week for 18 months. I was proud of her. Marcus did not attend, but he watched online. I know because he called me the next day. I did not answer. He left a voicemail. Naomi, I watched the opening. I need to say something. I sent it to Vivian. She said, less threatening than usual, maybe listen with tea. I did. Marcus's voice sounded tired. Not angry. Not polished. Tired. I hated you for being chosen by Grandpa, he said in the message. But yesterday, watching that building open, I realized maybe he chose you because you understood what money was for. I would have used it to make people clap for me. I sat very still. He continued. I'm sorry, not asking to talk yet, just I'm sorry. I saved the message. Not because it fixed things. Because it was the first time Marcus sounded like a man, standing outside his own ego. Months later, I agreed to meet him. At a coffee shop. Vivian nearby. Marcus looked different, less expensive, more human. His marriage to Tasha was strained by then. Her excitement about public family legacy had faded once no money or title followed. He sat across from me and said, "Thank you for meeting." I nodded. He swallowed. "I'm sorry." "For what specifically?" "For getting you banned from Mom and Dad's anniversary. For telling them I wouldn't attend if you were there. For creating Bennett Family Legacy Group. For using Grandpa's picture. For putting myself as executive director. For taking pledge cards. For saying legacy requires loyalty when I meant loyalty to me." That last one mattered. He continued. "For adding that Grandpa trusted you, because it proved he didn't trust me." I looked at him. Did he have reason to? No. Clean. Unexpected. Good. I hear you, I said. He nodded. Can I help with the trust one day? No. He flinched. I continued. Not now, not with money, not with leadership. If one day you want to volunteer anonymously, no photos, no title, no family announcement, maybe. He looked down. Okay. The old Marcus would have argued. This one did not. Maybe that was the first volunteer act. Doing nothing. Years passed. My parents' anniversary photo became part of family history, but not the way Marcus intended. Not the smiling one. The screenshot of Vivian handing him the legal notice became infamous among cousins. Aunt Linda once said, "Every family needs one Vivian." I said, "Most families create the need." The trust used the incident as a training case in governance workshops, with names removed. We taught community leaders how easily legacy language can be misused, how donation confusion happens, why clear entity names matter, why board control exists, why family passion is not governance, why the person with the microphone is not always the person with authority. People laughed at that last line. I did too. Healing, eventually, gave me the ability to find humor in the parts that once made me shake. My relationship with my parents became limited but better. They stopped asking for control. They began asking how to serve. My mother helped cook at some community events, but only after going through volunteer training like everyone else. The first time she wore a volunteer badge instead of a family corsage, she cried in the bathroom. Brianna found her. Mom said, "I used to think being Samuel's daughter-in-law gave me a place." Brianna said, "It does, just not everyone else." Good answer. My father attended financial literacy sessions and sat in the back quietly. One day, a young man asked him who he was. He said, "A man learning late." That got back to me. I cried when I heard it. Marcus eventually volunteered anonymously at a warehouse event packing winter kits. He wore a baseball cap low and said little. Mr. Hart recognized him, but pretended not to. Vivian recognized him and absolutely did not pretend. She walked up and said, "Mr. Bennett, if you touch a donation envelope, I will appear in your dreams." He laughed. Actually laughed. "I'm only packing blankets." "Excellent. Continue being useful without authority." He nodded. And did. That was growth. Not spectacular. Not stage-worthy. Real growth often looks boring. A man packing blankets without asking for a microphone. 5 years after the anniversary scandal, my parents invited me to a private dinner on their actual anniversary date. Not a ballroom. Not 200 guests. Just me, Brianna, Marcus, my parents, Aunt Linda, and a few close people. I almost declined. Then went. No speeches were planned. I confirmed that twice. When I arrived, there was a chair for me beside my mother. Not upside down. Not symbolic. A real chair. My mother stood when I entered. She did not say, "You came." She said, "Thank you for coming." Better. Dinner was simple. Jollof rice. Fish. Plantains. Salad. Cake. At the end, my father stood with his glass. My body tightened. He saw it. "I asked Naomi before making a toast," he said. I had forgotten he did. The old room inside me softened. He looked around the table. 45 years of marriage has taught me less than the last 5 years of accountability. Aunt Linda murmured, "Amen." My father continued. "I once thought legacy was what people saw at large events. Names, portraits, stages, sons, applause. I was wrong. Legacy is what remains useful after pride is removed." He looked at me. "I am sorry again, Naomi, for the anniversary, for the exclusion, for the fund, for making you protect Samuel's legacy from his own family." My mother reached for my hand under the table. I let her hold it. Marcus looked down, eyes wet. My father raised his glass. To Samuel's legacy, as he intended it. No one clapped loudly. No performance. Just raised glasses. That was enough. At my parents' wedding anniversary, they forbade me to attend. Hours later, my brother posted a photo. He thought it proved I had been excluded because I lacked loyalty. Instead, it proved my family had built a stage on top of a lie. The photo showed the portrait, the fake fund, the false title, the pledge cards, the empty chair, the people smiling while the truth sat locked outside. But here is what I learned. Truth does not need an invitation. It can enter through a screenshot, a forwarded video, a pledge card, a legal notice, a younger sister finally choosing courage, a lawyer walking into a ballroom with calm eyes, a grandfather's documents waiting patiently. Family can forbid you from attending an event. They can remove your chair. They can rewrite the program. They can tell guests you stepped back. They can put your brother at the microphone. They can print new logos. They can call theft legacy. They can post captions about loyalty. But they cannot change what is written clearly, protected legally, and lived honestly. If you are listening and someone has pushed you out of a room so they can tell the story without you, hear me clearly. Do not panic because you were not invited. Gather the evidence. Save the post. Screenshot the caption. Ask who paid, who signed, who authorized, who benefited, who was missing, and who needed your absence. People who need you absent to tell their truth are usually not telling the truth. Do not chase every rumor. Do not fight every whisper. Stand on documents. Stand on witnesses. Stand on the work you did when nobody clapped. And remember that being excluded can sometimes become protection. Because if I had been in that ballroom, maybe they would have provoked me into a scene. Maybe people would have remembered my tears more than their pledge cards. Maybe Marcus would have called me bitter. Maybe my father would have told everyone I ruined the anniversary. But because I stayed home, and because they posted, the evidence spoke before I did. That was a gift. A painful one. But still, today, the Samuel Bennett Community Legacy Trust is stronger than ever. The Learning House serves hundreds of families. The trade scholarships have expanded into 3 counties. Emergency housing support has helped women and children leave dangerous situations and rebuild safely. Small business grants have helped repair shops, bakeries, cleaning services, childcare providers, and local food vendors. Grandpa Sam's portrait hangs in the Learning House lobby now. Not behind a fake podium. Not above pledge cards controlled by Marcus. It hangs beside a simple sentence from his own letter. Legacy is not what carries your name. Legacy is what carries your values. Every time I read it, I think about that anniversary night. The ballroom. The photo. The caption. My cold tea. My shaking hands. Mr. Hart saying, they made their intent public. Vivian walking into the room. Brianna crying on my couch. My parents signing the correction. Marcus, finally, learning that being the son did not make him the steward. And me, sitting alone at home, thinking I had been rejected again, not knowing I was about to be handed the clearest proof I could have asked for. My name is Naomi Bennett. They forbade me from attending. My brother posted the photo. And by morning, the whole family learned that you should never build a fake legacy under the portrait of a man who left real instructions.